Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Not Just Crew. We've got another quick episode for you this evening. Now, this episode came around completely by accident. We were down at Fair Oaks Airfield in Surrey filming one of our Not Just Crew members who had been made redundant and is now learning to fly. Well, that episode you'll be able to see in the near future. In the meantime, our young cameraman, James, who's only 18, has always had an ambition to get behind the controls of a large aircraft. Well, we're introduced to two guys who have opened up their own flight simulator school, and he did really well. Take a look at this. Well, here we are at Fair Oaks Airfield in Surrey, where you get a chance to have a cheeky look behind the scenes at one of our YouTube videos as our cameraman James interviews Jordan Hazrati, one of our Not Just Crew members. Well, this is an amazing story in itself, and you'll be able to see this in the near future. Well, James, who is only 18, has had the ambition to fly, and he now puts his skills to the test, while Simon speaks to Matt and James, the owners of the Airline Experience.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, extra bonus here at what's the name of this airfield?
Fair Oaks. Fair Oaks
Yeah,
Airport.
well, that's all right. Yeah,
You can get anywhere in the world from here.
Yeah, and luckily we've bumped into these two amazing guys. So,
Literally bumped
introduce
into
yourselves.
them.
We did. Like, thank you to Jordan there. So, introduce yourselves, guys, and tell us where you are, where we are, and what this is.
Oh,
So,
go on.
so James, this is Airline Experience. So this is our 737 setup. It's a single seat 737, all works. I'm sat where the instructor would sit, who's a current airline pilot, and we just basically do experiences to try and show the public what we do as pilots and how we do it. And
you missed the key feature.
how we work.
Is that
What's
you?
That?
No.
And the real seat, yeah.
We nicked this from Kemble out of a Jet 2 737,
Yeah.
and it's removable, so it's actually disabled access because all of this moves, even though this is the right distance.
Oh.
So it's very accessible for everyone.
It all works.
So, what's your background, guys?
Well,
I'll go first this time.
You go first.
I was a modular student and ended up at BMI for 7 weeks and got made redundant for my LST and jumped over to another airline flying the Embraer out of London City, which is great fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've flown the Airbus for about 11 years now, and currently
Doesn't hold me,
based
does
out
it?
of
No,
Heathrow.
baby face.
Yeah,
No?
yeah, based out of Heathrow on that. So yeah, it's great fun.
So what's the situation with you guys, like with your careers, flying? Any scope to go back at all, or is this what you're concentrating on at the moment?
Concentrating on it. I am flew last night, flying tomorrow, this week. Actually.
You're flying 3 times this week.
Yeah, I don't know why it suddenly picked up, but
Yeah.
it is. I've got to say, all the flights I've done have been full, so
Yeah.
it's getting there.
Where are you flying out of?
Heathrow.
Oh well.
So yeah, did Valencia last night. Yeah.
What was the passenger loads like?
Full. It's
Wow.
rammed, yeah,
Yeah.
really busy. So people are clearly wanting to go away, so it's great. Yeah, we
Mm.
just needed to. We need America to open up really for the rest of the year.
What's it like to be back flying?
It's good. Yeah, it's nice
Yeah.
to be there for
Loving
the
it.
last couple of years, but yeah, not a year and a half.
Even with all the loopholes that you've got to go through with the testing and stuff like
Yeah,
that, it's just great to be back.
It's good to be back, yeah, and to be fair, it works actually all right, the testing, but anything just to get aviation opened up again.
Is the crew food any better since you've been back?
Yeah, you do miss it.
He comes back. He said, "I was being so good yesterday. I was being so good. I was offered the club food. Said no. On the turnaround, I said yes. But I said no first time I was asked."
And what about yourself?
Great.
So I've been on furlough since March last year, or whenever furlough started. My last flight was at Dublin and back, March 13th, and I've been concentrating on this. Hopefully, I'll be back sometime. I've not been made redundant. Touch wood.
Yeah.
But we're just waiting. As each email comes in, we'll find out when we're going back.
How much do you guys love flying?
Oh well, that's why we should do this, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
And in a minute you'll see our other setup, and you'll see that because we did this and we love the jet stuff, and we went, hold on, we love the prop stuff just as much. We did that as well. It's
Yeah.
more for us, this stuff.
Yeah. It's great, man.
I think what's cool about this is because with crew and stuff as well, because we do a little presentation with the customer, we go through. It's not just about the flying; it's about the management, dealing with passenger issues or just working as a team. That's the big thing we try and stress. Is it's not just about being a good pilot that's flying. It's
Yeah.
about how you work as a crew. So,
Yeah.
it's great.
And it's even though it's a single seat, you'd be amazed how the multi-crew concept comes in so quickly. And for so many people that have never flown, we get people in here for airline experiences who have never touched the controls of a light aircraft, let alone done the 4 or 5 years of training to get into the right-hand seat, or the left-hand seat in this case. And they pick it up and they understand why there's 2 of us up there.
Yeah.
They understand. And then you start to bring in why you've got the team behind you as well. You bring in the communication between back and front and to the ground, and all that. And it's great. It's great seeing people's pennies dropped or pennies dropped and etc. You know, it's really good fun, isn't it?
Is there any of you guys had anything like I wouldn't say major, but any like problems on board the aircraft where your skills are being tested?
I got a cold coffee once.
What? Shocking.
Wasn't even me. That was Cafe Nero. So I couldn't even get off and moan about it.
What about yourself?
The odd thing, but nothing too major.
No decompressions?
No, thank God.
No?
Nothing like that. I've actually been quite lucky, I suppose, in my career so far. So
They thought there was smoke on the flight deck once. It turned out it was just the FO.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you know, when you go through all your drills and all your safety drills and all that, because I led a pretty charmed life in 12 years at Virgin. I didn't really have any like major incidences, but there was like a slow decompression. There was a bit of a hot rack fire kind of thing incident. It wasn't nothing major. And then there was one time when I was working up as FSM where you got FSM to flight deck immediately, but the adrenaline rush is just amazing when you do, like, I know it was nights briefing back then, you know, I think it's NITS now or something like that at Virgin. But the adrenaline rush that you get, and when you've got to like relay that information back to the crew, and just like how well it comes together, and like everyone's listening, and just when you see the sheer terror in your fellow crew's face, and you're like, "Oh, it's fine, man. Honestly, nothing to worry about. Don't worry."
The great thing coming into London City is, you know, if on a bumpy day, there's a stormy day, etc., you're coming down that steep glide, and you know full well that one of the cabin crew that are looking back at the passengers has this on their face.
Yeah.
Just to wind them up, just to wind up the passengers. You know what's happening.
I saw that. Yeah.
No, it's one thing I wish that we did do is get crew in the sim during our checks, because then you can see what we're actually doing,
yeah.
and we can appreciate what you want to hear. And it's good. I think it's good. Anything we can do to try and work places together is better. Yeah.
So show us a little bit about what's going on here. Which airport is that? That looks like Heathrow to me.
That is Heathrow 27 left.
Because he told us.
It's based on a 737-800. Yeah, it all sort of works really. I don't know if one of you wants to jump in and fly it.
Not me.
I think our young
James.
camera person.
But you're more than welcome
James.
to jump. Mind your head on the way in. Did you see that fall?
So this is 27 left near the car park where I parked.
So down
actually,
here,
that could be 27 right.
if you pull it this way, the seat will slide round and come
So
towards
for the
me.
audience, this is James. This is our camera person for Not Just Crew. Who has ambitions that he wouldn't want to be the pilot one day, which is a
One
genuine
second.
ambition.
Gets a bit stuck. That's to really
Get in,
push
son.
it in there. Yeah.
He's like,
If you want to, are you too far forward?
No,
now?
that's
You're
fine,
right.
that's fine.
And it does go up and down. So there's like a handbrake lever on the left-hand side. If you want to raise it up and down, but you look
right.
about the right height there. Actually. So
right, what's
what
happening?
we'll do is we'll do a takeoff. So
Quite exciting, isn't it?
obviously you've got your thrust levers. Have you flown a plane before?
Only in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It's basically just treat it like that.
Yeah, but you were in
Yeah,
Atlanta
you've
as
been
well.
on the 7.3 simulator
Oh
as well.
yeah.
The Delta Museum in Atlanta, you got in the sim there.
Oh, well, there you go. You had to do exactly as you would. So stand these up straight. So with your pedals, you can disconnect the brakes by doing that with your feet.
So these are brakes as well.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
you've got the brakes and the rudders. So if you with your toes do that, keep pushing. There you go. So that's disconnecting the park brake. With the rudders, you're going to look as far down the end of the runway as possible.
Yeah.
And using the rudders doing this, you're going to keep it straight on the sense line. And as you get faster, you'll need less input, so it's just about like gentle inputs.
Alright.
And then when I say with the yoke, if you put your hands together, you're going to pull it back. And if you follow me, keep pulling it all the way back, all the way back, all the way back, till about there. Just before it hits the stop,
Yeah.
the nose will come up, and then you release it, hold it, it will fly away. And you're looking to bring the nose up to about 15 degrees, which is about that line there. So that's all you're going to do. So when you're ready,
What,
stand
why am I
those up
nervous?
straight. Yeah. Stand those up straight. So
All the way.
yeah, about there is fine. You set full power, we'll start rolling down the runway. So you can release the brakes.
Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, already going on.
So if you release your
left,
feet,
right.
I'll let
Yeah,
you
you
go,
have to
yeah,
back on.
yeah. Just going to reduce the bus slightly. Okay.
I'm on
So
the
yeah,
side of
steer
the
with your
runway.
feet, smooth inputs, it will slowly come back. Then when I say, just gently start pulling back to that position. So about now, start pulling back.
So in this case, normally you'd enter in the
Keep pulling back,
FNC
keep pulling back.
different V speeds, so
Bit
your
more.
V1 and your rotate, etc.
There you go.
But James is just doing this off of experience.
Now
Oh, right,
relax
okay,
it a
yeah.
bit.
V1 rotates.
There you go. So
Essentially,
it's supposed to
yeah.
go around the gear up.
Yeah.
So pitch up towards that 15 degrees, so another 2.5 degrees up.
Very nicely controlled.
There you go, beautiful.
It's so much better than just having a
Yes.
PS4
It's a
controller.
bit different, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I tried running it on my Oculus Rift, but my PC wasn't powerful enough.
Oh, really?
So,
Dude, you flying, man.
So now lower the nose to about the 10 degree mark. I'm just going to bring the engines back a bit. Don't worry about that altitude.
So that horn there that you heard was the guidance telling you you had 1,000 foot to go left in the climb. So that's why James just increased it so that. But that's still an altitude because we've got set in there 1013 hectopascals rather than setting the standard, which you can do by pressing your barometer.
Right. So what we'll do, I'm going to reposition you onto final.
alright.
And we'll do an approach to land.
At Heathrow again?
At Heathrow onto zero line right, this one.
Oh, right, okay.
Can you throw some bird strikes in there as well? For
Yeah,
him?
you can actually, yeah.
Well, let's not put him off. he wants. We're trying to encourage here.
Right, so do you see the runway
Yeah.
all the way out
Yeah.
there? See the.
How is that?
So basically, let me just do this just so it's all done. So you're going to fly towards that point.
Yeah.
So if I show you with the mouse, fly towards that and try and keep it in the same position in the window the whole way down.
Alright.
And I'll do the thrust levers, you just fly towards that. And my biggest piece of advice, if you draw a line, imagine a line on the ground coming all the way out like this.
Yeah.
You want to fly over the top of that.
Alright.
And small corrections works best. So I'm going to unfreeze it, and it will take a couple of seconds to stabilise, but then you can fly it down. So, wait a second.
Do you use your rudder in the air? Or-
Not really. You do sometimes in turns, but no, not really. So you're going to have to pull back a bit.
Yeah.
Unless you capture from above the glide at London City, then you use it.
Keep pulling back. Pull back a bit more. Right. So you just keep flying it in. So can you see the lights on the end of the edge of the runway? Do you know what they are?
Landing lights?
No, they're called pappies. So they tell you whether you're whether you are on the profile or not,
Alright.
on the right approach path. So we ideally want to see 2 reds and 2 whites. So at the moment, you can't really make out, but they look reasonably correct. So you just keep flying it in. It's really nice. So on where your left thumb is it called the trim?
Yeah.
So if you do that, so pull the switch down, it will move this wheel.
Raise your thumb a little bit more over that. That's it. Now pull that down
Pull
towards
down.
your wrist.
Sorry, what does that do?
That is the trim wheel. So it will allow you to relax the pressure you've got on the back of the yoke.
Oh,
So keep trimming it out. A few more bars. And slowly you'll be able to relax the pressure so it takes the strain off you. So with crew, sometimes if you're moving the trolley up and down the cabin, you can see this moving. It's changing the position of the...
I'm a bit too high. Or...
No, you're looking good. So you've just got 3 whites down, so lower the nose a bit more. So you've got 1 red, 3 whites, so you ideally need 2 whites, 2 reds. So you just keep lowering the nose slightly.
1,000.
So that's 1,000 feet above the ground. Really nice, really nice. There you got your 1 red back, so that's good. And when you get your 2nd red back, it's just a tiny little correction just to slow down that rate of descent.
500.
Really nicely
Keep
played.
flying down. It's a really long runway, so don't worry too much.
Really chicken again.
And what you're going to do, you're going to start looking at the end of the runway. And when I say, you're just going to gently pull back and land. And I'll do the thrustings again.
100.
So start looking at the end of the runway now. Hold that attitude. Just keep flying down.
30.
Keep flying down.
20. 10.
Beautiful. So that's the spoilers coming out. Reversers are being deployed. And then on using the rudders, keep yourself straight on the next one.
I should probably using brakes, should I, or not?
Yeah, you can use the brakes. So squeeze on your toe brakes.
And then there's the Virgin Atlantic hang.
There you go. Yeah, perfectly timed. Cool. Well done.
Well done, mate.
Well
That was awesome. The first jump in. Very
Excellent.
impressive.
Really nice.
Now, I must admit, that was really impressive. James, he's only 18. He did so well. And later on, which you won't see, he got behind the controls of a small aircraft. I think it was a Cessna. And it was as if he'd been flying for absolute years. So well done, James. You have to see which career you're going to go into, whether it's camera work or flying. But anyway, that was great. The other episode, Jordan, I'll tell you her name, will be out hopefully in the next few weeks. In the meantime, join Simon and I every Sunday on travel.radio between 11 and 2. Keep supporting us on the crew market and the website. Share to all crew, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, there's my aeroplane gone flying.